Hey guys, Devil here, and welcome to this thing. Yeah, basically, I have here Pokebeach's rumors for Pokemon X and Y that were leaked. Hold on. May 11th, 2013. Yeah, so you saw that. Boo. Unless I decided to just use this image that I made in Paint instead of the screen I'm recording, but whatever. Um, so, yeah, basically what I'm going to be doing is going through each rumor that was posted and saying whether they were hinted at, confirmed, partially confirmed, false, maybe. I don't know. Let's get to it. So, Fairy will be a new type. That's confirmed. It will be weak to poison and steel. Hinted at by Pokemon Smash. Immune to Dragon. Not mentioned yet. That's probably something we're not going to get till the game's released. Super effective against Dragon. That was confirmed at E3. Dark Fighting and Fire. Haven't got that. Basically, it's also super effective against Dark Fighting Fire. And Psychic type take half damage. Haven't got that yet. Sylveon is Fairy type. Yes, that was confirmed. Some older Pokemon will be reclassified to Fairy. Yes, that was confirmed. Such as Mawile, Steel Fairy. Mawile wasn't a specific one confirmed. We got Marill, Gardevoir, and Jigglypuff for retypings, which most likely means we also got Azurill and Wigglytuff. And just because they chose to show Gardevoir as a top evolution and not Wigglytuff or Azumarill, I'm guessing Kirlia is not Fairy type. Mewtwo has two forms, not just one, both activated by items. So far all we've seen is the one form, but hey, they might be keeping the other one hidden. And the movie airs, I think, next week sometime. So we'll probably maybe find out if this both are activated via items thing then is true. The professor's English name is Patrice. Now this is interesting because they did a second batch, which I'll be doing after this, which mentions another professor named Sycamore. I have no idea how to pronounce that. And in the trailer or the website today, July 12th, it mentioned that the professor that was in the Korokoro that battles you and presumably gives you your starter, I don't think that was actually explicitly mentioned. His name is Sycamore. I'll just call him Sycamore. And he's mentioned in the second batch of rumors. So, I'm wondering, because for him it says another professor, if Patrice and Sycamore were switched, because keep in mind this is February, a lot could have changed from February. Or if Patrice is like a main professor and for some reason they decided to show the other professor. Or maybe it's sort of like how there were two Professor Junipers in Black 2, White 2. And it's kind of a story like that. One of them's sort of the main one and one does other stuff. The starters' final evolutions are Fire Psychic, Grass Dark, Water Fighting. Those were hinted at by the trailer. Actually, I'm not sure if Water Fighting was specifically hinted at. Just people assume because the Fire or the Psychic Dark Fighting trio. I'll also post some pictures. They were supposedly leaked of the Fire and Grass final evolutions, and their concept art, and I think they were either leaked by the same person who leaked Duwat and Servine and Woobat from Black and White's anime concept art thing, or it was I'm pretty sure this person has leaked legitimate information before, which is the only reason I'm even bothering to show them. The first gym is Bug. That was confirmed. I think it was last month's Koro that confirmed that. The second is Fairy. We've seen that Fairy Castle thing on the title screen. However, who honestly knows if that is a fairy gym or if it's second. And fourth is Fighting. Again, that's something that hasn't even been brought up yet, what type the fourth gym is, or if Fighting is a gym or anything. Theotax will be dual typed. I'm really hoping this is a beta thing that they decided to keep out, because this just seems like it would be super confusing. And there'll be a new type of battling style that flying Pokemon and Pokemon with Levitate can participate in. This is the only thing I think that's 100% confirmed. That it's the flying battles. It was confirmed at E3. There was a trailer. They mentioned it at the round table. It's just 100% it's happening. So, good job, I guess, whoever you are. You will see Pokemon's EVs in an in-game facility. That was hinted at. I'll go over that later. You will also be able to boost the EVs through mini-games. It will take about 2 hours to get one stat to max EVs. And Pokemon and Me, maybe? I don't know, they said. Supposedly IGN and JWITS caught at the Directors Roundtable that they said Pokemon and Me will boost evasiveness, and I think there was something else. Evasiveness and I can't remember right now. I really haven't paid attention to that because only 2 people reported out of all the other people that were there. I kind of have trouble believing it was actually mentioned, or it was just like wording that they got or something. But through a minigame, Pokemon and Me, it sort of fits into that. Because, I don't know, I don't really want them to have like 20 different minigames. Because there's a Me, there's probably going to be like contest or musical or something along those lines. So, I just hope it is a Me or there's one other minigame, because I don't want the game full of minigames, because forced to do PokeStar Studios, forced to do the musical, forced to do... Actually, no, you weren't forced to do the only good one, the Poke Olympics thing. I forget what that's called right now. But yeah, if you're not forced to do them all, I'll gladly take a minigame, because it's like an extra little thing that my sister can have fun with or whatever, but whatever. Anyway, on to part 2. Okay, welcome to part 2. This is the part where he mentioned a ton of Pokemon, a couple moves, and a few other things. So, Pancham evolves into Pangoro, which was, the name was confirmed today. The evolution was confirmed Koro a couple days ago. In the early level 30s, in order to evolve Pancham into Pangoro, you have to have one other Dark-type Pokemon in your party. Pangoro's type is Fighting Dark. Fighting Dark was confirmed. And Koro also said it has a new evolution method that was not previously used, which, yeah, the Dark type in your party hasn't been used. Sure, there was Mantike requires Remoraid to evolve, but that's not one specific type. Well, any Pokemon that type, that's just one Pokemon. What I'm kind of curious about is, like, if you don't have a Dark type, say it's 32, just for convenience sake, say 32. If you don't have a Dark type at 32, will you be able to evolve it later if you do get a Dark type? And if you cancel the evolution and then deposit the Dark type in the PC, will it still be allowed to evolve? So I'm kind of questioning that. I've never actually dealt with Mantike, so I have no idea what its situation is either, with Remoraid and stuff, but hey, whatever. Pokemon named Inkay evolves into Malamar. To evolve it, you hold your 3DS upside down when it levels up. The 3DS has an accelerometer and a gyroscope, so it can detect that. Malamar's type is Dark Psychic. I think it's actually Psychic Dark. I'm probably wrong on that, but who really cares? It's not like that past Gen 1 did any difference. Actually, I'm not sure if Gen 1 it even did anything. But Inkay Malamar, the two Pokemon themselves were confirmed in Korokoro. Those names were confirmed in the Pokemon website today. And I'm not sure if it actually mentioned to evolve you hold your 3DS upside down. Or, like a new evolution method. I'm not sure if it mentioned that. I can't remember right now. But it makes sense for them. One's the rotation and one's the reversal. I can't remember which one's which. Malamar looks like an upside down squid, but it's not upside down. I don't know. And yeah, a psychic type Pokemon named Esper evolves into Meowstic. Sounds like psychic type cats. Meowstic's name sounds similar to Meowth to me though. Okay, we've had pretty similar Pokemon names, so I'm not going to let that get in the way. I'm not really going to talk about that. There's always really been a regional cat, except for Johto, but Johto had a lot of things that have been in most regions, or didn't have a lot of things that were in most regions, such as fossils. Because there's Meowth, Skitty, Glameow, and the first non-normal type being Purloin. So I'd say this is fairly likely. Espeon's kind of a cat too. I'm not sure if you'd really call it a cat, but I could see this happening. I don't know. Seems like an early game cat that you get that's doomed to being underused because it sucks. It might get one good move, but other than that, it sucks. But everyone, for some reason, uses it on their first playthrough, even though they know it sucks. Okay. Like in Black and White, you have two rivals. One is friendly, the other is competitive. Your rival that's more friendly gives you his/her fully evolved starter after you beat the game. I could have sworn there were 4 rivals. You and 3 friends. There's that nerdy guy, the big guy, and was there a girl? Plus there was the opposite gender of who you picked. So there's 4 rivals. They may have added 2 though. So I'm assuming the one that gives you their fully evolved starter will be the opposite gender, because they can't give there's not 5 starters in the game. They can't give each character a starter. Another professor named Sycamore, knows that name, gives you either Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle. I did the Patrice thing because, well, I said not mentioned Patrice, that should be not mentioned, comma Patrice, as in the Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle thing was not mentioned. This probably won't be confirmed until like a couple days after the game comes out, because I'm assuming that's an after-game thing. And yeah, then I'm saying Patrice question mark because did they switch it? So this is Patrice now that gives you Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle? Or does Oak show up and give you Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle? I don't know. Even though the players shown riding a Go-Goat in the new trailer, players can't ride their own Pokemon. What was shown was just an alternate way of getting around Luminos City, and it only works with Go-Goat. This is kind of false, because Junichi Musada said you can ride, I think it was Rhydon, maybe it was Rhyhorn, in a rocky area. So unless they mean it only works, or Go-Goat's the only one you can ride in Luminos City, plus I'm assuming that even though it shows the player riding Go-Goat in the new trailer, it probably says, the original thing was probably, you may be able to see players riding Go-Goat or something, because obviously that trailer hadn't aired yet. But players can't ride their own Pokemon. Yeah, I think that was hinted at during the E3 developer table, that it's not their own, it's a rental thing. HM still exists, but there's a lot less of them. I think this was also hinted at. I can't remember, and I couldn't find anything. But I could have sworn it was asked at the developer table, but I couldn't find it in the question archive thing. Or it was at some other point someone mentioned it, but I don't know. I just hope it's kind of like Black and White, where they're not... Like, I think that Cut Tree in the Dream Yard was the only time that you ever actually needed an HM if you want to just go through the game. You need others to sort of find everything, but you never actually need any of the HMs. Players will be able to see their Pokemon's EVs, probably some sort of in-game facility mentioned in the other post. Someone asked during the developer roundtable if EV training would be easier, and Musada said it would, or they were working on a way, not it would. So this may be it. I'm not sure. A new move, Belch, is a poison-type attack with a base power of 120. The user must consume a held berry to perform it. 120. What I'm kind of hoping is it's 60 if you don't have a berry, and 120 if you do, because that means you can use it once per battle if it's not a berry. Plus, someone can scout you out or something and use an attack that will force you to use your berry. Like, I think the most abusing thing would be giving a poison Pokemon this and then giving them a pitch berry, because they can't be poisoned, so there's no worry about that being abused. So, yeah, Belch, although it's extremely powerful, has a huge drawback. Draining Kiss is a fairy-type attack that heals the user for the same amount of damage performed. It has a base power of 60. Draining Kiss was confirmed. Being a fairy-type was confirmed, and it being an absorb-type move was confirmed. Base power was not, and how much you get dealt was not. So, yeah, I'd say this is probably how Draining Kiss's mechanics are going to work. In the previously revealed form of Mewtwo, I don't get why this is separate, but whatever. In the previously revealed form of Mewtwo can be said... if the previously revealed form of Mewtwo can be said to look roughly similar to Mewtwo's original design, the second form of Mewtwo can be said to look roughly vaguely similar to Mew's design. Again, only one form's been confirmed, and I don't know if they give Mewtwo two forms and then one looks like Mew. I just don't really see how that's a Mewtwo form anymore. That sounds more like a Mew form, but whatever. In case you missed our correct... Okay, yeah, that's just a thing. So, yeah, that's basically what's happened in Pokemon X and Y world since Pokebeach leaked their information of Black and White, or X and Y. So, although it looked extremely fake before, the majority of the stuff's either been partially confirmed, or hinted at. Yeah. Or has something that we can fit in, like the Sycamore thing, Pokemon and Me, the starter's types, 4 rivals. All these things can sort of be like squished in together, sort of. And the Meow Stick and Esper thing can be sort of okay, that's most likely true. Maybe their names have changed or something, but that's probably true. So anyway, I will see you guys later.